everybody. I'm Kayla Monet, aka the Little Black Beetle, host of Beetle Talks.
Coolest podcast in the world. Go ahead.
Not Jai.
I am _Juju P, best known as Juju. I have a YouTube. You can find me at I am _Juju P, as well as Instagram at I am _Juju P.
Shit, I'm great.
He's here. He's representing his basketball academy.
Yeah, DNA basketball. You can find me just like that, DNA Basketball Academy.
Yeah, on Instagram.
I'm not advertising.
Let's roll right into it. Can you guys tell us what your nationalities are for starters, please?
Why are you always looking at me first?
You first.
Oh my God. So I classify myself as Afro-Latina. I'm African American as well as Hispanic.
Where's
Nationality. I'm Honduran, full Honduran. Both my parents are from Honduras. And her dad is Dominican and Haitian, I believe. And her mom is Honduran, full Honduran.
But I was born in America.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you guys' feelings on the conversation of the Afro-Latin?
I think you should start because I'm gathering my thoughts.
Okay, so I see how this is gonna go. I'm just gonna initiate everything. Well, my thoughts. I think it's good. I like the idea that it's, mainstream conversation, even though it's controversial. A lot of people have different things to say about it. I think I'm happy that it's something that's being spoken about because I feel like we've been in the dark for quite some time. So it's definitely a good conversation to have for the generations to come to just know that they belong somewhere.
That's good.
I
love it. That's beautiful.
I don't really know how to answer that question myself.
So being that you guys have a different cultural background and things of that nature, and there's things about you guys that maybe that we can't see that are different from how you guys were raised. How did it feel to be assumed as African Americans growing up?
So for starters, in New York, is a whole bunch of minorities. So I know growing up, I really didn't experience like racism or anything like that. Me personally, I feel like I haven't because, like I said, there's a whole bunch of minorities. There's a whole bunch of the Honduran culture over there. There's a whole bunch of Dominicans, Puerto Ricans. I know there's been instances of people like, oh, damn, I thought you was black until I talked in Spanish and stuff like that. But I didn't really deal with like racism when I was younger. I didn't really realize racism was a thing until I joined the Navy.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
That's what opened my eyes to that.
That's actually pretty common, especially for people who come from New York. Because New York is so diverse in that nature, and you meet all kinds of people with all kinds of crazy backgrounds when you're in the military.
Yep.
So I know, like, she was telling me, about her experience just in the Bronx, or not in the Bronx, in Brooklyn. And just how, like, being light-skinned herself, like, she dealt with, like, colorism and stuff, and females are a lot more harsh with, like, colorism and things of that nature, from what I understand. So how about you, Juju? What was it like for you?
For me, okay, so going back to the question, how did I feel about people assuming that I was Black or African American only? I wasn't offended by it. I mean, it's clear that I'm Black, but it wasn't so clear that there was more to me than just being Black. So it wasn't something that was offensive in my African American community. However, when it came to like my Hispanic community, it was a bit different. I feel like I received a little bit more mistreatment from my Hispanic community versus my African American community. And that just goes back to because I fit in more in the African American community physically.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much difference when it came to, socializing with African Americans. However, there was a difference with like preference in language, preference in music, preference in foods, stuff like that. That's when the differences would really show. Because then we have the people talking about, oh, you talking that guala guala or whatever. And then it's like,
How was that?
they can't really relate. Because once you pull out that Spanish, it's like, oh, what you talking about? Oh, I don't want to hear none of that guala guala. So like, it was like certain things like that where it would be like, okay, well, damn, that's harsh. But other than that, I feel like I was able to relate much more with my African Americans than with my Hispanics.
Yeah, and now that I think about it.
Oh, now you think about
it. Now that I think about it, I deal with that a lot now that I remember, like now that I'm conscious of what's going on. I deal with that now, especially with, like she said, like the Hispanic side. Yeah, they start talking to me, try to talk to me in English, like, and they English be all messed up sometimes. Like, bro, just talk regular to see if I know what you're saying. But no, they see color, automatically assume like, okay, he's American.
Okay. So, when I structured the questions, I definitely thought, it was vice versa. But it's interesting to see, I didn't even think about that, but it makes a lot more sense, especially, that makes a lot of sense. Have you guys been home recently, or since adulthood?
Where like
to Honduras or DR?
Yeah.
Do you guys feel more? Do you guys feel more or less comfortable at home?
Since in Honduras, I can't speak too much as he can, because he went to Honduras more times than I have as an adult. I only went once as an adult, and I only went for like maybe 3 days or so. So I didn't really get to interact with different types of people. But Dominican Republic, I went to often since a child. And there, with the tattoos and stuff, as soon as I get there, everybody looking at me a certain way, because it's like, oh, she's not from here. And does she even speak Spanish type of thing? So it was kind of the same situation that I was encountering with my Hispanic community where I grew up at in the Bronx. So now for you in Honduras, like, how did you feel?
Honduras, I felt right at home. The only thing that would differentiate me is the way I talk, because people, the Spanish is different over there versus here. You know what I'm saying? That's
the dialects, slang, and things of that nature.
That's like somebody from Atlanta.
Yeah, talking to somebody from New York. Yeah.
Versus New York, it's like that. So as soon as you go over there,
it is.
Yeah.
So
it's funny though. I didn't even until I got to high school. I didn't know until I got to high school. It was like my first time even meeting anybody that was like Dominican that was darker than me. Because middle school up, everybody was always light skinned. And I went to Claiborne High School out east, near East Flatbush. That's where I'm from. And everybody was either Haitian, Dominican. I was just like, my friend Andy told me he was Dominican. I was like, no, the hell you not? You
Yeah, that's right.
I was just like, no, you did not. Then he told me.
It's crazy because he had the same reaction. Like, no, the hell you not?
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? Like, as a kid, I met my first dark-skinned Dominican. So my aunt, she married a Dominican. Well, he's Dominican and black, but he's light-skinned because his mother's light-skinned. He got most of his genes from his mother because his dad is dark as hell, about the color of my shirt, right? And so I met all of their family and stuff, and he had dark-skinned Dominican people in his family and some more. So I probably should have knew better, but I just didn't even think about it at the time. And so when I met all of his family and stuff, he had Dominican people in his family that were all different shades of colors, you know what I'm saying? So I should have known better when I met you, bro, but I be on some ignorant shit sometimes. I'm trying to do better.
It's not even so much ignorancy, it's more of just like the way our environment's structured and how we're structured to think. And
yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And when it comes to skin tone, no one really tells you a lot of different colors.
Yeah.
Especially with Haitians, because there's Haitians that are lighter than me. And there's some, they can be either really, really light or really, really dark. But that's like for everybody, because if you got the Italians, they're the dark skinned white people.
Yeah. but that just goes to what we always talk about, you know what I'm saying, you have to educate yourself on your own culture in America, because they're not going to teach you. You know what I'm saying? They're going to teach you what they need you to know to survive in their society.
Yeah.
So, what was it like having immigrant parents? Can you guys speak on some of the difficulties that you may have noticed about your parents being immigrants here? All right, because both of your parents okay. So, tell us what it was like in your households growing up, and how it may have been different from what you guys would assume a regular black household would be.
Well, for starters, so going back to what I said earlier, how the difference would lie in between like foods, music, language, that kind of played a part at home, because we didn't grow up. Well, I didn't. Greg had more black friends, so he had a little bit more more of that. But in my household, for instance, like my brothers, for instance, I remember when I was younger, growing up, they weren't allowed to listen to hip hop, like that. Like, it was different. So growing up, what I really listened to was Hispanic music, like bachata and stuff like that. And I love it till this day, but I didn't really have that experience that y'all probably had in y'all homes. So I don't know what y'all.
I'm from the Caribbean. It was soca, parang.
And I'm from Alaska, and my family, I come from a upper middle class bougie white or black family. So they're super like religious. So I didn't grow up with a lot of that either. And we'll get into that part too.
So that's another thing. Like, everybody's different at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Everybody grew up differently, no matter what you are.
So I grew up listening to hip hop and all that stuff. That was never a problem. I remember my parents. I was young, or we all was young, and they was using us to translate certain stuff because they didn't know.
Yeah, that was annoying.
Yeah.
Annoying. And then that kind of so if we translating stuff for them, imagine when we bring home homework to the house.
Yeah.
We on our own.
Definitely.
Yeah. I actually that was gonna be one of my next questions. Like, did you guys feel like you got to carry more responsibilities as first generation Americans in your family?
Yeah.
Can you speak to that?
Yeah.
Definitely.
So more responsibility is like they came, it's a typical immigrant mindset. Oh, we came here to have you guys have a better life. Mm-hmm. So go to school. And
you gotta be a doctor.
For me, it was be a lawyer, because I used to argue a lot with my
doctor for me.
Yep.
And it's funny that we're talking about this, because I just posted a video on my YouTube channel regarding this situation. I called it basically breaking the generational curse, because to me, I felt like it's a generational curse. Like, our parents have expectations for us, and
it's so much pressure. It's like
pressure.
Yeah.
It's different than when we was growing up. Now I had to explain it to my mom and my grandma. I was a bio major working 2 jobs. You know how stressful that shit is?
Yeah.
And then now it broke my grandma's heart, and I said I want to have a farm.
Talk about what your household was like growing up.
Well, I'm the oldest of three boys, so you know what that's like. So I grew up like in typical broken family. So my mom shared that in, and so I live with her in New York. My dad is married and he has kids with his wife, and he lives in Florida. So my dad's from North Carolina. So like living with my dad, even though I'm the oldest, I was treated like the youngest, because it was a lot of sexism up in there, because I'm the only girl. So my brother's out the street running amok, doing what the fuck they want to do. But yeah, when I want to go to the mall, my brother's got to go with me. So it was like I didn't really have no freedom. My stepmom was like, a fake church goer, like, only go to church on Easter. So like I we couldn't really listen to a lot of hip hop or anything like that. Everything was like censored. The only time I heard the Get Rich or Die Trying album was in the car with my dad, because he don't give a fuck. But like living up in New York with my mom, like it was just me and her. So like I can do whatever I want within my age group. So, but with her, just be clean, how hard it is. So my mother's loud in the morning, and she's real strict. So like Saturday morning, she's sitting there blasting Soca and Parang, and it was all about grades and clean. Yeah, it's like, well, it was like really, I was one of those kids who stayed in the house, so like I didn't really do much. The only time where I went out was hanging with my cousin who from Brooklyn, and she got me out in the streets.
I was on lockdown too. Like,
what was your household like?
I was just about to get into that. So the best way, like in a nutshell, I can describe my family as like, in Tyler Perry movies where they have that one bougie ass black family that do too fucking much. That's my family.
So you got
all of them.
Wait, so the family prays family, or the family?
Like I won't say like it's immolated perfectly in every movie, but like if he come out with another movie, I can guarantee you it's gonna be exactly my family, the way he's described this type of family so many times, right? So, it's the, what I'm saying, my grandma makes everybody go to church type thing and everything else. Which I have my own personal feelings about the black community and Christianity, but that's a whole nother video. That's a whole nother video for a whole nother day. And I grew up in Alaska as well. So
you grew up in Alaska?
Yeah, that's where you from.
Yeah. So for a long time. Yeah.
I said the same thing.
So we're gonna get into that.
I was like, this is black people.
Get into that. So for a long time, before my mother got married to my stepfather, there wasn't a lot of black kids in my schools and things of that nature, and my family wasn't educating me on my culture. And that's why, as an adult, I feel so strongly about educating the people around me and myself, because I feel like you don't know where you're going until you know where you came from. So, but things of that nature. I never listened to rap music until like College Dropout came out. Was the first rap album I ever listened to. Another important thing about this talk too is just to show that, nationality aside and what your cultural background may be, I think there's a lot of similarities that can still be had, but a lot of differences that are still there that make us all unique, that I think people forget that too often.
Yeah. I got a quick question for y'all too. So how was you guys' household? What was the idea of Hispanics portrayed to you guys? If that makes sense.
I can start. You want to go?
We didn't really talk a lot about it. Like,
yeah,
we really did it. I know my dad, when I lived in Florida, everyone was either Cuban or Mexican. Like, so like I had friends. So like, it wasn't really a thing. It wasn't really a thing.
So my daycare provider that my mom had for me from when I was a baby all the way until I went to preschool, she was, I don't remember what kind of Hispanic she was, but she was some kind of Hispanic. So I grew up around that. And then, religious people, God is love and everybody's God's children, right? So you treat everybody equally, you know what I'm saying? So there was never an idea that, because these people are different or they speak a different language, or they look different, having to treat them differently. Everybody's the same. But I definitely was not educated on a lot of things culturally.
Right.
But also I think that they weren't educated as well to give me that education. So that's not their fault.
I know that there's some people that like in their household, they were taught to view Hispanics as like the curvy, light skin, straight hair, maybe light eyes, blonde hair. Like,
and I didn't get that until middle school, because everybody who was like Puerto Rican or anything like that, that's what they looked like, until I got to high school, where I was just like, oh, there's other shades. Like,
and let's speak to the fact that And let's
Right.
speak to the fact that in America, right, we fetishized that look of what a Hispanic woman is
But
supposed
that
to look
comes
like, that
from
ideal,
European
right?
stuff.
So like
On TV and all that.
yeah, on TV and
Yeah.
everything else, and you know what I'm saying? I don't
But
think
that
that's
comes
okay.
from like the European aspect, because the closer to white
Yeah,
you
you look.
that's how
Yeah.
beautiful you are.
Right.
But yeah, especially when they do show, there wasn't, even on TV and media, it's not like a lot of representation of the Latino
Community, and if there is, they're usually fair skinned.
right.
And that's why I feel like it's become such a thing
Yeah,
now, because we want to be represented.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, most definitely.
So, to be deeper into the Honduran culture, so 9 times out of 10, the people in Honduras that's dark skinned are what we call Garifuna. Garifuna is, you can say like a tribe. You can say it's like a tribe, and we originated, from Africa, like everybody else,
West Africans.
West Africans.
Okay.
So then there was a slave ship with a whole bunch of Africans that they was coming. I think they was coming towards the Americas or whatever. That slave ship got messed up in a storm or something like that, or they got overtook. It's like different sides of stories and stuff. But that ship got messed up, and the people that was on that ship, the slaves, ended up on St. Vincent, which is like a Caribbean island. So from there, they was chilling there. They was mating and all that stuff. And then from there, they migrated to different countries in the Latin America, like Honduras,
Central America.
yeah, like Guatemala, Honduras, Belize,
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua.
Yeah.
I can't say that in English.
Nicaragua.
Like, I really didn't deal with racism until I moved to Florida with my dad, and I was like 8 years old. So it was a whole bunch of like rednecks and shit, and they treated us the same as they treated the Mexican kids. Like all the Mexican kids, immigrants to them, and all the black people, them was dirty N-words. I get on the bus, the boy was like, "Oh, you see black people on the bus?" Like,
That shit.
then I get to New York. It was more of a colorism for me, because like where I went to school at, and I went to school out LG Project. So like, I had the long, big, giant, wavy hair. So like all girls was like, just hating because they felt like I thought that was better than, because like how my skin tone is, how my hair is. And a lot of my teachers, because of my hair, really did not believe I was black. When I was in Florida, she thought I was either Dominican or Cuban, because I had like big curly hair and I got a tan. I was just like, black people have good hair too. I did definitely experience some people who are Afro-Latino, and then they're like, no, I'm not black, but I want to say nigga, and then that's when they want to say they're black. And I'm like, but we're all from the same place, different boat stops. It's got a little extra flavor. Like,
I was kind of ignorant in that aspect too, because I was so proud of my Hispanic culture that I wasn't saying I was black, but I wasn't like being racist. I was just like, I'm Hispanic. I speak Spanish.
Yeah. No, you were taking pride in it though. You know what I'm saying?
Got away from this. I'm Hispanic. I'm Hispanic.
There's definitely nothing wrong with that. Definitely be proud of who you are. But it was like, sometimes like what some people always comes off of like a
disdain.
Like it's offensive. Like what? And that's what's wrong with people now. And people's opinion is based off lack of education. So it's not like people, like some people, it comes off hatred, but a lot of it's ignorance. A lot of it's fucking ignorance. And a lot of people actually too don't know their own history too as well.
I don't think I really understood how to identify racism, right? Because, with that God is love mentality and everybody's God's children, right? A lot of the times Christians like to leave out that there's people in this world who are hateful, and how to identify that hate, and what kind of hate you're gonna experience in your life as you walk through life. The systematic brainwashing, right? How schools, military, and jails are all the same. The conditioning. I didn't understand that because people weren't telling me that. I didn't understand that, you know what I'm saying? In the same decade that I was born, there was hundreds of black people all over the country being executed by white people everywhere. Nobody was educating me on that. So when I got into the military, right, and I was dealing with some of these white people and they were looking at me and talking to me a certain kind of way. Now, see, one thing my family did teach me is don't take no bullshit from no motherfucker.
Definitely be properly from the also you got a lot of people do gotta keep in mind that they literally put us all in the same box. And that's what you gotta understand. They don't until what they see is just what they see. That until no one knows what you are until you open your mouth. I'm from the Caribbean, but see me, I'm black as hell. Oh, so when you apply for jobs, what do you check off?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Hispanic.
Well, they usually ask race, and black is chosen. Well, that's what I choose, and then ethnicity is Hispanic.
Hey.
I know there's because someone told me there's a difference between Hispanic and Latino. Everyone is not Hispanic, right?
Because
it was a difference. It was you can be Latin but not Hispanic, but you can be Hispanic and not Latin. Some shit like that.
Spanish people are from Spain. So if somebody be like, "Oh, I'm Spanish," no, you're not, unless you're from Spain.
Hispanics are people that they share the common cultures and stuff like that, but you're not necessarily from Spain.
That's what they call the touch of the tar brush.
You see the side eye, right?
Hey yo, so Greg, you know how they people say Gregory is a white man, right?
What?
So look at you when you walked into interviews, do people look at you fucking crazy? I know I used to get that with my name, Timothy.
Off of my name?
Yeah.
You didn't really go to too many interviews.
Nah.
And give you a more European sounding name to make it move easier through life.
Nah, I don't know where they got that name from.
Oh, I know for a fact my grandmother named me, and she definitely for a fact, because my mom was gonna name me some shit like Darius or Darian or some shit like that, and my grandma was like, no, and she gave me 2 biblical names. Said, get your happy ass on out there. When you walk into a room and they're looking for Timothy, they're looking for a white man, and this black ass face is right in front of them. And they're like, oh, because they can't hide the shock.
Because my grandmother named me too, and me and her got into an argument about kids I don't even have. Because I want to name my daughter Kadara and my son Kimani, and my grandma is like, what? They need to get a job. What kind of names is this? When they apply for a job, they're gonna know that they're black. I'm like, Ian, why you gotta strip that?
Yeah.
And because when it comes to blackness is a lot. You really can't define it.
That's why it's just black.
You really can't define it. Because black people are from everywhere. People from African descent are from everywhere.
Have you always been using shea butter or natural products on your skin and hair your whole entire life? Was that something that you knew about growing up? Or is that something that that was something that you had to educate yourself on, or you were educated on later?
Well, for me, I know I grew up using both, natural stuff and regular stuff.
Yeah.
I think more so natural, because my mom to this day, she still uses stuff specifically from Honduras, because more natural stuff like that.
Yeah, that's one thing I envy about immigrant families. They have connects to things that are better.
Yep.
I was like, well, never mind.
For me, it was the comb from Honduras. That brown comb. Where's that? I know it's around here somewhere. That brown comb, y'all know what I'm talking about. If you Honduran or whatever, you know what it is. And then Vaseline. Vaseline was a staple in my house. Oh.
Yes, Vaseline and baby oil, bro, and Blue Magic.
Well, I grew up using cocoa butter, actually.
Yeah, cocoa butter. Cocoa butter was a thing in my household too. But my mom was a fiend for some Vaseline. I don't know why. She loved that. She paid that shit everywhere.
You was one of them greasy ass.
Yes, bro. Yes, bro.
We going to school greasy as hell.
Shit, be shining like a motherfucker. People going like a disco ball.
I didn't use Vaseline until I was already an adult.
Cause you don't need none. Look at your face, it's mad shiny.
Hey, shout out my man Ryan.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the guy, bro. Yeah, shouts out to Ryan, most definitely. Shouts out to y'all for showing up. Drop your ad names again. One more time, bro.
The DNA Basketball Academy. Just like that. DNA Basketball Academy. That's mine. Well, my business page.
So you can find me on all social media platforms. Well, and I'm not gonna say all of them, but Instagram, YouTube, at @Iam_JujuP.
And you can find me at _Beetle Talks _ also at _ Little Black Beetle _ and Little Black Beetle Talks.blog. Link is in all bios. But I'm mostly on Instagram.
You can find me on Instagram at Bezo, that's BEAZO _ for the culture. That's about it. Thank you guys for coming out, bro.
Shout out to y'all too for having us, for real.